Hi, it's Gord here. If you're like me, you may have limited experience in graphics design, creation, and animation, but you really want to create some assets of your own. If that's the case, you're in the right place here, right now. I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to create graphic image elements that you can use to create an animated motion graphic YouTube subscribe button. Once you have those elements, I'm going to then show you how to take them in and create the animated motion graphic that you can just drop into your video. Won't that be cool? Now let's take a look at what the finished product will look like. Check it out right here, the finished product. First, I just want to be clear that the approach that we're doing here today, a do-it-yourself approach, is just one approach to getting a completed or acquiring a finished animated motion graphic to use in your video. In a future video, I'm going to compare the do-it-yourself approach to several other pay approach options that may provide other benefits and shorten your time to get a finished product. And then I will help you also to understand what's the right direction for you based on what your skill set is as a video creator. But for now, let's dive into the tutorial and see how to create an animated motion graphic YouTube subscribe button from beginning to end. Enjoy.
Okay, so let's look more closely now to see what design ideas that we can come up with. And if you're like me, you may not have any historical graphics design background, and therefore we're going to need to take a peek at some sites to get some design ideas, and let's do that now. So as you can see, here I'm in Google, and I keyed in YouTube subscribe, and up came a whole bunch of designs. So as you can see, there's a lot of them here with rectangles within rectangles and triangles in white and white lettering for subscribe. You know, there's a whole bunch of different design ideas here. So what we want to try to achieve when we get our images to create for the animation motion, we need to get the individualized components. So for example, if I'm looking at this very first design here, there's a little red triangle inside of a white rectangle, and that whole shape is inside of a larger red rectangle, and on top of that red rectangle is also the word subscribe. So in essence, you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 components, or I'll call them elemental graphic images, that we need in an SVG file format to import into our Easy Animator Pro software so that we can create the animated motion graphics. Looking for Tuber Tools. Tuber Tools is a great site. They have all kinds of products, end cards, headers. Here's the motion graphics, and you can see they also have lower thirds items, thumbnails, buttons. So we're going to go through here, and we're going to get the graphics for the YouTube subscribe button. So let's go there to buttons. And as you can see, there's a number of solutions here for subscribes, and the first two here are listed as animated. So remember, our goal is to create an animated YouTube subscribe button. As you can see here, this one sells for $9.95, and we can take a quick look at it. And if we scroll down, here's a video execution of what the subscribe button will look like. As you can see, that's animated to come in, then it's paused, and then animated to go out. There, play once more. Okay, so from this example, we can see that this design is composed of, again, those 4 elements I mentioned before: a red triangle, a white rectangle, another red rectangle in the background, and some text. So we're going to go with this kind of design and try to make that happen. And again, the whole approach is we're doing this with free tools. so that you can see that it can be done as a do-it-yourself project and not expensive at all. Inkscape is a powerful free design tool. So whether you're an illustrator, a designer, or web designer, or someone who just needs to create some vector imagery, Inkscape's a great product to do this in. And that's the product we're using, so you can download that for free. And the links will be in the comments for the video, in the section, in the description section for the video. Okay, just to give you a quick lay of the land, like with many graphic image editor type tools, on the left hand side here there are different shapes and objects. So as you can see, this is the create rectangle, which we'll ultimately be using to show how we created the red rectangle and the white rectangle. Then there is a next shape relevant to us will be the stars and polygons. We actually used that to create our triangular shape here. And then of course the text tool to create the word subscribe. Now I'll go in and show you how we created each one. So for the rectangle, we use the create rectangle tool, and it's like a click drag scenario. So as you can see, I'm just drawing it out. So we get it out to approximately the size that we want. And then to get the stroke edge, you need to adjust that, and that's done through the stroke feature. So see here down at the bottom where I am in the bottom left, the stroke outer edge is black. And if you come into the fill and stroke area here for the object that we're on, and you go to stroke style, we need to put a width to the stroke, and I think 6 is approximately what worked out right. So as you can see, that's pretty easy. And if we want to just move that around to compare, we use these arrows to resize. Just gives you an idea, so you can play around with that. And you know, if you want the stroke width to be different, you could have gone with a smaller number like 4. And this is just showing you some of the features inside Inkscape. Now if you notice, if I click on the object and toggle it back and forth, we get the scale bars in one instance, and then these other ones which are here for turning. Okay, and there's other elements. Again, the purpose of this video is not to go into the full details of Inkscape. I'm just trying to show you how easy it is to actually create some basic objects, and then you can go check out some tutorials or review the manual. You know, YouTube's a great source for learning any tool. I did this, you know, very quickly myself through teaching on YouTube. Okay, now let's show how we made the red triangle. To make the red triangle, you need to go to the polygon shape, which is right here, create stars and polygons. Click and drag, and as you can see, I already have it as a rectangular shape. You can do other things to adjust how that shape works by moving the corner points of the triangle. And you see we don't want to do all of that, so we're going to go back to the standard shape, and you can actually control the measurements up here. And again, it's very powerful. And if I click on the object again, similarly I can rotate it and do different things. And in this case, we wanted to create the red triangle element without the stroke border, so we could just set that to 0, and you see there you have the triangular piece. So again, pretty easy to do. And then lastly, I'm going to show, well, the white rectangle will be similar to doing a red rectangle, but you just color it differently. And the subscribe is just being done through text. So to do another text box, we would just click on the letter and start to type in the text. And in my case, I changed the color to white, but because it was hard to see, I also put on a stroke edge. And so in this case, if I'm here, I could put a stroke edge on there as well. But I'm just showing you it's that easy. You just pop the text in, and then, you know, you can do what you want with it. And you can scale the size of the text to wherever you want it to be. And then in the end, after I converted the color to be white. The last thing I did to facilitate being able to easily get these components separated so that they can be in separate SVG files to import into Easy Animator Pro was I created different layers. You know, just like in Photoshop or some of the other technologies, each thing can exist on a layer, and if I click on here, I can make that layer vanish, you know, with each of these components. So all you need to do to create the files is hide the layers that you don't want, and then you can go File, Save As, and then create the element that you want. So I'm defaulting it to the Inkscape SVG, which is just fine. So in our case, drawing, it was called All Elements before. I'm just calling it Demo. So as you can see, it's that simple to create these objects, and now we're going to go and animate to create the end product with the motion to make it an animated motion graphic. Okay, so now I've launched Easy Animator Pro, and the next step, which is our final step, is to create the animated motion graphic, which has our 4 elements that we created, and bring them in together and then animate it and then save it off as an MOV file, transparent MOV file that we can then drop into our video. So let's get to that. So click on Import, and then I'm going to take in the elements that we have. So we have the white rectangle, the text subscribe, the red triangle, and the red rectangle. Those 4 elements come in. So here they all are. Each one of the graphic elements is a layer, and you can get their context by pressing here on the left to any item. And we need to be sure that the ordering of the layering is correct so that the objects appear on top of each other accordingly as they need to be. So for example, here we have the subscribe text, and it's okay, so it appears on top. And now if we go to the white rectangle, which is showing as our object 1 here, we put it on, and let's say about there. And then we go to our red triangle, and as you can see, the red triangle doesn't appear to be on top. So we need to move this from position 3 to position 1 just by a slide like that, a drag, and there we go. So now let's play with the animation. I'm going to get a nice animation just by simply pressing on presets, and we can just click. I like to use a lot of the samples here that are safe for 4 images. So for example, if we choose Elastic Ringer TBLR and click play, well, first I have to apply the preset, and there we go. So see instant animation in all the phases, which in an animation is the in, pause, and out. All right, let's just see if there's another animation option. I'm gonna try, I always like this one, Elastic Ringer Corners for 4 images. So let's apply that preset in our animation. Okay, so let's see how this goes. Do we apply it? Okay, comes in nice. So now all we need to do is remove the middle stage, because we don't want it to move around for the most part, and that's called the pause phase of the animation. So for each element, first I'm going to stop the execution. For each element, I'm going to switch the animation to none. So this one said ring, now it's none. This one was twist, now I'm putting it to none. And this one was ring, I'm putting it to none. So now watch, if we play, you see how it's paused in the middle with no action, and then an exit comes up. Beautiful. So this is a really nice animation. We're going to adjust any length of time we want for the actual subscribe to stay on screen inside our video editor. Okay, so now we're going to create an MOV file down here in the bottom right corner, MOV and an export. And then I'm going to make sure I go into my right directory, and I'm going to call this animation YouTube subscribe. And the MOV file is being created now. So when I come back, we're going to drop that into our Camtasia Studio video editor and see how we tune it. And here we go, animation YouTube subscribe. And let's just play it and see how it looks. Okay, so right now it's full screen, so it's all over the place. And it has a nice pause, and then it's going to animate on exit now. There we go. Pretty cool. Now there's just one other trick here to realize in Camtasia Studio, whether you're in Camtasia Studio or ScreenFlow or any other video editor, you may want to adjust the length of the time that the subscribe button shows. So in our case here, you can see it shows it's about a duration of 10 seconds. So let's say I wanted to increase that to 20. So I'm going to actually split the file and then extend it, add in 5 seconds. So let's just put in here our playhead point and just scrub to see where we get to. So we're in the middle there. Anywhere in the middle will work. And I'm going to do a split, and then that split didn't work because I wasn't selected. There we go, the split's on now. And then we're going to move the playhead to the last frame and extend the frame, and we're going to add 5 seconds in this case, and then attach the tail end. Okay, so I think everyone has the idea now that we have a beautiful animated motion graphics subscribe button, and it was a total do-it-yourself project. And we did that by creating the individual graphic elements and then brought them together inside a tool that did pretty sophisticated animations, and that's Animator Pro. This is actually a great example of a do-it-yourself project for those that are inclined and want to make something custom and truly their own and therefore unique.
If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions on how to utilize graphic animation creation tools, meaning tools for creating images or for the animation motion graphics, or just questions on what direction that you may want to take in using animated motion graphics in your video, please leave them down below and I'll help you out if I can. Also consider checking out the tools that were mentioned in this video. We used Inkscape for graphic image creation to create our SVG files that we used to import into Animator Pro. Now there's also an Animator Lite version that's free. So both those tools you can get for free, and the links are included down below. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, click on the subscribe button now, so that I can share videos like this with you in the future. In a future video, I'm going to compare the do-it-yourself approach to some of the pay options that are out there, and so that you can see what direction is best for you based on the amount of time you want to put in versus your skill with the technology, and what is your end goal of that production quality that you're seeking. Anyways, I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.